Philippou brothers have done it again, delivering another intense horror which feels like a punch to the gut. What I love about well done horror like Bring Her Back is that the emotional weight of the film is more powerful than any other genre could hope to be. On this note, it's likely you've already heard numerous people discussing a key theme of the film: grief. And this is certainly a crucial aspect of the film. We see Laura, Andy, and Piper dealing with grief at the loss of their loved ones within the film, each with a unique perspective and way of handling their pain. The film is steeped in metaphorical imagery to reflect this. Deaths are often associated with water, seen when Andy and Piper's dad dies in the shower, when Kathy drowns in the pool, when it rains throughout the climax, and when Andy is not only drowned in a puddle, but his body is also left in the shower, just like his father. Water is reflective of tears, of grieving, and to drown in your sorrows is a well known phrase. Water is also associated with cleansing, perhaps reflecting the character's unsuccessful quest to be cleansed, relieved of grief, and the sins committed in the pursuit of this relief. We also have the stuffed dog, a sign from the get go that Laura struggles to let go of dead loved ones, as well as many, many circles highlighting the cyclical nature of grief. Most powerfully, we have Ollie/Connor himself, the child possessed. His presence reflects the creeping, silent nature of grief, suddenly becoming explosive and destructive. Grief destroys all, including the self, as seen in the body horror, when Ollie becomes gradually more mutilated. His bulging, pregnant-like belly reflects how we nurture grief, allow it to grow in a distorted, uncanny sense, in a way that hurts. Ollie's character brings me on to the main topic I want to explore. Bring Her Back is not only about grief, but is also an examination of how society lets down children. Ollie, or Connor, is literally taken from his family by Laura to be used for her own gain, and he is inhumanely harmed in the process. His possession is interesting to look into in terms of a more symbolic reading. Connor loses all sense of himself through Laura's manipulation, becoming something he is not, highlighting how parents and their guardians can harm their children, take away their individual identity. Connor cannot vocalise his thoughts or pain, showing how these guardians forcibly silence their children and make them feel as though they can't reach out for help. Seeing this, along with his gradual mutilation throughout the film, especially as a child, is particularly potent and harrowing imagery. Connor is obviously not the only child hurt by Laura, as we see her destructive influence on both Andy and Piper as well. Even their arrival at Laura's signals trouble. The use of a Dutch angle, followed by a full spin of the camera, serves to communicate that something isn't right here. Andy's narrative was a particularly painful one for me to watch. To see his past, his gender, and his physicality used against him was enraging. Laura uses her experience as a counsellor to further traumatise Andy and to try to convince him and others of his supposed madness. The extent to which she is willing to go to is truly disturbing, making him think he is wetting the bed by pouring her own urine on him, even punching Piper in the face whilst wearing his deodorant so as to frame him. It's also implied that she is drugging him, and from their very first meeting, she constantly pushes his personal boundaries. The fact that Andy is doubted and gaslit shows how vulnerable boys are often ignored by society or even seen as the villains. Instead, the true monster is clearly Laura. She is a predator that can hide in plain sight due to the fact that she is a woman, a mother, and has worked for social services for 20 years. In real life, there are cases where women are the predators, victimising teenage boys, and sadly, we often see these stories belittled and not taken seriously. Laura uses societal expectations of her and of Andy to serve her machinations, getting away with egregious acts for far too long. I found it interesting to see audiences debate the extent of her role. It's clear she will do anything. Nothing is off limits when it comes to bringing Kathy back. But did she kill Andy and Piper's father? Even if she didn't, telling Andy she did and then pretending she never said that when he is in the hospital is enough to show how she tries to make Andy think he's insane, to mess with his mind. Her treatment of Piper is also cruel. even if it is subtly implied that she might not go ahead with her plan if Piper were to fully accept her as her mother. By forcing Kathy's identity onto Piper, similar to what we see with Connor, once again Laura takes away the individuality of the child. Worse still, Laura uses Piper's disability against her in efforts to lie to and manipulate her. Seen when she frames Andy for hitting Piper, and when she lies about Ollie's hair. Even when they first meet, she pranks Piper by making her think she's going to stroke a living dog when it's actually her taxidermy pet, mirroring a later scene when she guides Piper to touch the frozen body of Kathy and lies that it is just meat. I commend the Philippou brothers for diverse casting in their work. In Talk to Me, they had the brilliant Zoe Tarakis, who is non-binary and trans-masculine, using they, he pronouns. In Bring Her Back, Sora Wong has been cast to play Piper. It is great to see a visually impaired actor portraying a visually impaired character. Piper is a well-written character and very likeable. She's funny, clever, awkward, strong, and athletic. These abilities make her survival convincing, but it doesn't mean she's not still a victim of Laura, or even her father. Though Piper's father never hit her like he did to Andy, he still hid what he did to Andy from her. Like Laura, her dad used her disability against her in this sense, using sound to disguise what he was doing. Of course, since Piper can't see, she never saw Andy's injuries. Andy admits he kept up the pretense so as to protect her, to allow her the image of the perfect father. In this sense, Piper's limited vision also reflects her innocence to the true cruelty of the world. This could also be said of Kathy, reinforced by her childlike, somewhat gaudy bedroom. Purity and innocence corrupted is also a key theme of Bring Her Back. The trauma Piper and Connor face strips them of their childhood. Even Laura herself can fit this theme. Once a pure maternal figure, her trauma has corrupted her to such an extent that violence begets violence. This ruination of her character is reflected in her childish glitter nail polish. At first it seems pristine, but it gradually chips and becomes more worn throughout. So yes, this is a film about grief, but that goes hand in hand with this being a film which criticises how society lets children down, particularly those who are vulnerable.